Hi everybody, in today's video we're going to be having a look at how we can generate engineering drawings using Creo parametric. The process is largely automated, and because models and drawings are associative, changes to anything in the model will immediately be reflected on the engineering drawing. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do in order to generate this drawing is download the template file that's available on Blackboard. So if we head on over to the module shell for ENGD 1109, you'll find that we have this setup. So if we go into the Creo primer, so practice materials, Creo primer, you'll see that we have this template here. So if we just click on this, it should start to download and we've got our template file. Now what we need to do is move that into the location of all of our part files. So if I go into File Explorer, here's my downloads folder. So you can see I've got the DMU temp underscore a3.frm file. And I'm just going to cut that and then paste that onto my desktop. So I've got this Creo primer folder. So this is where all my part files are. So I'm just going to paste it into there. So now we can go back into Creo parametric. So to start a new engineering drawing, all we need to do is go File, New, and click on Drawing. You'll see that the name will be generated from the original part file. We can then click OK. Then if we select Empty with Format, we can now find the template file that we've just downloaded. So if we just click Browse and go to wherever you're keeping the file, you'll see that template file's there. We can click Open. And then we can click OK. A new dialog box will appear, and it requires us to enter some text. So you can see it's saying enter text for the parameter rev. Okay, so this is in reference to the revision. So small design modifications are often captured using revisions rather than new part numbers. So for this case, this is the first revision, so we'll just call this A. And we'll click OK. We've got another dialog box, and this time it's asking us for the release status. Okay, so a component will have different release statuses depending on its positioning within the design workflow. So we've got some basic examples that it could be. So if the release status was approved, then that means it's signed off, ready for manufacture, in review, requires official sign-off, rejected, drawing, or the component needs additional work. So these are different statuses in which the component can be under. So for this case, we're just going to put approved. Click OK. Again, we have another dialog box here, and it's asking for the project. So this is just the name of the project that the component's associated with. And so for this, we're just going to use the module code. Click OK. So the next box is asking us who drew this. So you need to add your name in this field. Press enter. And then we'll be asked for the material. Okay. So we need to decide what the material will be for our component. In this case, we're going to use aluminium. So AL 6082-T6. And we'll click OK. Surface finish. So this tells if there's any post-processing that's required to our component. For this component, there's no particular process that's required, so we're just going to click enter to leave it blank. Next one is the title. So we need to give it a descriptive name that actually describes the component. So the thing to remember here is that this will not be unique. So you can have multiple components with the same name. So for example, you might have lots of components called bracket, but it'll be the drawing number that separates those out. So for this, we're just going to call this cube underscore corner and click OK. So what you should see is that the template saved you a lot of work because it's actually filled in the title bar for you. So we've got all of these different parameters that have been filled in for you. And what we'll do is we'll just click Save now and just check that it's in the correct location and click OK. So we're now going to start adding some views. So click on General View, select No Combined State and click OK. Now we need to click on the canvas in order to select a position for our view. So I'm going to select a position close to the center of the screen and then just click. We've got this new drawing dialog box that's appeared. And within this, we can actually tell it which view we would like to use from within the model. So I'm going to select front here and then click apply. We're now going to change the way that it's displayed. So at the moment it's copying the display from the 3D model, but we want to make it look more like an engineering drawing. So if we go to view display, you can see at the moment display style says follow environment. If we click this, we can choose how we'd like it to be shown. So I'm going to click no hidden and click apply. Okay, so we can see that that's now showing the outline for the component. I'm happy with this view, so I'm going to select OK. Now what we can start to do is add some projection views. So as long as you've got the model highlighted, you can tell that by the green checkered line box that's surrounding the component. If we come to the toolbar at the top and select projection view, and then you'll see that as we move the cursor, we get a box appear, which will show how these projection views will be displayed. So the first one, I'm going to move above and then click. We need to change the view style of this. So if we click it, click here on properties, go view display, and then we can change this to no hidden, click apply, and OK. Now we're going to add a final projection view. So I'm going to click our original view again, click on projection view, and then move one to the left-hand side. Again, we need to make sure that we change the display. So go properties, view display, and then change this to no hidden. Click apply and OK. So now we've got a basic layout for our drawing. We just click save. So it's quite obvious that these are quite small on the page, so we can actually change the scale of the drawing. So if we come down to the bottom of the screen here, we can change the scale by double clicking, changing this value to 2, press enter. We can now see they're a lot larger. Now you can see that the views are not very well positioned because we've changed the scale. So we need to move these views. So in order to do this, we need to unlock the movement. So if we come to the top toolbar and you see at the moment this lock view movement is highlighted. If we click on that, this will now allow us to move our components away from each other, our views away from each other. So once we're happy with the positioning, we can lock them again just by reactivating that parameter. Now we're going to have a look at adding the dimensions. So in the graphics area, we can select the view that we want to add the dimensions to. So if we select our initial view and we come along to the top here, click on the Annotate tab, then we can go Show Model Annotations. We can see here that it's gathered all of the dimensions from our model and displayed them in a 2D environment. And what we can do now is just go along and tick which ones we would like to keep. So I'd like this 30 here. I'd like this 8 diameter. And I think I'll also keep the radius in this view here. Okay, so if we click apply and then cancel, you can see that we've now got some dimensions on this part. We can click on these to move them. So with this diameter, it's not good practice to have the actual value on overlapping our component. So I'm going to drag this and move it outside of our component. Move the radius down slightly. And we can just position this in the center. Now we can do this for the other views as well. So if we go back to layout, we can select this view, go back to annotate, select show model dimensions, and we'll just highlight the 8, click apply, cancel, and then we'll go back to layout again and we'll do the top view. We'll do the same here, annotate, click on 8 here, click apply, click cancel. We just want to move these so that they're not on top of our component. So now we've got some dimensions on our part. We'll just click save. Now we're going to add some annotations. So we can see down in the title bar that the number of sheets is missing. So we're going to add this using a note. So if we come to the top here, we can click on Note, Unattached Note, and then we can position this within the sheet cell here. And we can type 1 of 1. Then press the middle mouse button. And then if I right click that, I'm going to change the properties of it. I'm going to click on text style. I'm going to change some of these properties. So we're going to untick default and we'll change the font so that it's Universe OTS. Click preview. That's looking much better. And then we'll click OK. Then we can press save. So now I'm happy with my drawing. I need to be able to output it in a format that anybody can view. So at the moment, it's only viewable by Creo users. So what we have to do is export this as a PDF file. So if we go to File, Save As, and Export, we can now choose the file type we would like to use. So PDF is automatically selected. And then we can click Export. And then we can give it a name and a location to save it. So I'm happy with this, so I just click OK. And that will now export my drawing as a PDF, and you can see it's opened up here. There's no need to save this file, it's just a preview of what's been saved to your directory. Okay, so that's basic overview of how to generate a component drawing using Creo Parametric.